Bandwidth Boys Podcast. We talk about stuff, tech stuff.
Well, we're back. It's another episode, second, as it turns out, of Bandwidth Boys Podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Connolly.
I'm wondering, well, maybe somebody was wondering if we were going to make it back. Well, we did. We made it back.
We did. It was
At least one more time.
It was a lot of work to make episode 2, and we're back, so we're good. I mean, we figured Matt invested all this money and equipment. We had to at least do 2 shows.
At least a season, right?
At least a season. So.
At least a season. Fair enough. Well, we have some pretty cool stuff to talk about, at least we think. That's why we're bothering to do it at all. So let's hop right into it in what's going on tech world.
What's going on in tech world?
Did anyone really believe Beats Music would last? Well, if you did believe it would survive, then we've got some bad news for you. Apple has decided to shut the music service down. Apple acquired Beats Music back in May 2014. Those who have subscriptions with Beats Music will have it canceled on November 30th, but Apple is allowing users to transfer their preferences to Apple Music. Apple says they have used elements of Beats Music to create its own music service, Apple Music.
As if selfies weren't cool enough, Snapchat has decided to make it even cooler. Snapchat launched selfie lenses this week. Matt, you using them?
No.
Okay. Making your normal selfies something else after acquiring a Looksary earlier this year, which is an app program and developer. Snapchat was able to create this new service. Each day they roll out a new lens and remove an old one from the list. So if you like one day, chances are the next day it'll be gonzo. Or, here's the thing, you can spend 99 cents and keep that lens forever.
Well, apparently going too slow gets you a ticket. Google found out the hard way. Earlier this week, a picture taken circulating the interwebs involved a cop and Google's self-driving cars. Word on the street is the self-driving vehicle was traveling too slow for traffic. And in a post released by Google explaining that situation, they stated they've made a conscious decision to cap the self-driving car speed to 25 miles per hour to make them feel friendly and approachable and very passable.
Well, if you love Snapchat and its disappearing messages, well, you may like what Facebook is doing. BuzzFeed noticed that users in France got an advanced messaging feature that allows users to set a self-destruct time limit to their messages. Facebook confirmed to TheVerge.com that these testing phases are indeed underway. They say they plan to roll out this feature to move to more countries depending on how well the testing goes.
And our final top story of the week, if you hate Comcast, this may change your mind. Maybe not, Matt. I don't know.
No.
Cord cutters in Boston are rejoicing. They now have the option to watch live TV without a cable box. That service is called Stream. Wow, great marketing. Good marketing. For $15 a month, Comcast's internet subscribers only in select cities like Boston can stream TV networks such as NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS, and even HBO Go, which I think is pretty cool. The service also includes thousands of on-demand programs as well as a cloud DVR service. One of the missing pieces for some, though, is the big ESPN. But for those who have never paid for a cable service in their life, they'll continue their cord-cutting ways by using Stream.
And that is what's trending. We're going to hop into our topic now, main topic, and one of them. And Connolly, you're kind of behind this, right?
Yeah. So earlier this week, I read comments by the one and only Tim Cook, which is Matt's God and Jesus and Savior and whatever he wants to call him, the CEO of Apple. And he was at a kind of a press conference about their new, what do they call it, MacBook or iPad Pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their new thing. And someone asked him about the iPad and PCs, and he simply said, well, if you're looking for, well, his quote is, I think if you're looking at a PC, why would you buy a PC anymore? No, really, why would you buy one? And so that kind of, got me thinking, well, there's a lot of Apple snobs out there, and there's a lot of PC snobs out there. And so why are these two, groups of people so entrenched in the way they think and why they can't see the other side of the road. So I'm a PC user, not a PC snob, just a PC user. And Matt and Greg are kind of Apple users. So Matt, let's give the audience kind of a rundown of why you like Apple so much and go from there.
They work.
All right, good. Well, that was a great conversation. We'll see you next week for episode 3.
But really, they work. You know, you don't have all the incompatibility issues. You don't have the parts issues that you have with Windows. Plus the support if something does go wrong, the ability to go into an Apple store and have them switch it, have them fix it quickly, rather than you look at a Windows market where if you buy it from Best Buy, you take it to Geek Squad and they ship it out, or they do something.
They could fix it.
They could.
They choose not to.
Or
but
they could ship it out, right? And it's just not the same level of once you have a smaller number of products coming out, you know those products like the back of your hand, right?
Yeah. Greg, what do you like about Apple's products? Because you're an Apple family, right? iPad, Macs, Apple TV.
Yeah, the family has been Apple for many, many years. But my workplace has almost always been Windows, so I'm constantly using both. But personally, I suppose that it's the compatibility that Matt talked about a little bit, and a lot having to do with just being able to just flip the thing on and having it see and find and adjust and make sure that your life moves along pretty smoothly. I feel like I have to do a lot more work trying to make sure that at least up to this point. Now, I'm not in your world where you're keeping up with the latest in the PC world, but that's been my experience.
Yeah. And I think one of the downsides of PCs have always been the people making it aren't necessarily the people developing the software, as opposed to Apple products where they create the hardware and they create the programs to go on that system, and so they could easily make sure the QC and quality control is there, as opposed to PCs. It was about cheap and how we can keep that cost down for users, right?
There's something to be said for marketing as well, though. Their brand is so strong, and it comes from that place that you just described, that it's all been in one house and under one very small umbrella for a long time.
So, Matt, I ask you, why do you think the big the big disconnect between Apple's crowd base and PC crowd base, and why Apple fans look down upon PC users?
Cost, look.
Yeah.
Apple products are beautiful. Windows products are not. Windows products are made out of, generally plastic, and they don't look as nice. And I think it's like if you drove a nice car, if you had a nice house, right? It's the same click mentality of my product is better than yours. And for a vast majority of those people, I don't think it's about performance. I think it's about what it looks like, and they're in the club, and they like to display that.
Yeah, I mean,
I would agree with that.
Right, and I like Apple products, but to me, from an economical standpoint, they don't make sense to where I am in my life now to be able to shell out $1,500 every time a new iPad or MacBook Pro comes out. And I know that they last a long time, right? And so that's why people like it, is because the initial investment in an Apple product is high, but if you run it over the years of how long it works, that cost works out quite well. But I think for me, Apple products are just overly priced for what I'm getting of putting an Apple name on the product. The product works, but I think most of it is marketing and the upsell of being able to call it an Apple product.
I think they've stood behind their brand, though, and made sure that things work. And that's been a huge issue with a lot of Windows outlays, is that they haven't worked. They've just been out to be out, at least it appears, because there were so many fixes that had to happen, and some systems that just flat out never really were viable. And I'd say that was very, very rare in the Apple world.
And I think that part of that paying that price tag is the expectation that what you buy will work. I think that a lot of Windows market stuff they make it cheap, right? And that's why it's sold. It's sold as cheap, and Apple won't do that, right?
But they work.
They work, but they're not. They don't always work, right? And they last a while.
They work,
but they don't work.
I think they work.
There's plenty of laptops out there that don't work, and after a few months they just don't work.
Yeah, but is that the Windows and PC program itself, or is that the hardware in which the PC was placed on top of, the Lenovo's and the Dells and the then gateways, right? The old gateways that kind of flooded the market with PCs. I mean, who do you blame for these PCs not working, the hardware or the programmer?
But the argument isn't Windows, right? The argument is a PC, and the PC is what it's running. So you have to blame the hardware. So you have to blame the fact that Microsoft is okay allowing their product to be put on these crap machines, that it has to come back to them, right?
Mm-hmm. So let's look at the two new products from one new product from Apple and the one new product from Microsoft, and talk about laptop replacements, right? The iPad Pro is positioning itself to become a laptop on the go, and the Surface Pro, which released last month, also is trying to position itself as a laptop replacement. And so, to both of you, one, would you go with a tablet and get rid of your laptop, which you guys both have, or would you continue to have the iPad laptop combo? Whether you go with PC laptops and a PC tablet, or you just forego it all.
Go ahead, Matt.
I think I'll always have two. I don't necessarily see the iPad Pro in my life being a laptop replacement. I think that it definitely has its roles, especially for graphics works, and in a professional setting, it's awesome. But I don't think that. For me, I will always prefer the form factor of a laptop, and I don't think a tablet with a keyboard or a Surface with a keyboard would ever replace that.
Greg?
I don't think I'm ready yet, but I think I might be able to at least entertain the idea of jumping maybe sooner than Matt. My only problem with that is that I use my laptop for professional work and not just communication and whatever else you might use it for on a personal level. And so if at this point, I can't just not plug anything in and still get the same things out of my Pro necessarily that I can out of my laptop at the moment. Now, I imagine those things, there will be answers to those questions. And when there are, I think I would probably entertain it, because really, I just need it, as we talked about earlier, to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked at the Surface Pro, the newest one out, and we all know the Surface 1 sucked and shouldn't have been made. It was an awful product. But the newest Surface, there you go. You have a Surface right in front of you. Exactly. And it has certain functions that it works, and the rest of it doesn't. But and
working right now.
The biggest problem with the Surface when it first came out was the different operating systems, right? Microsoft had the Windows RT, and then they had the Windows 8 platform. Two very different ones, even though both branded as Windows platforms, operated very differently. The Windows RT operated on apps which weren't compatible with programs like Word and other things at PCs, and that's kind of how people kind of use computers is program based, and Microsoft decided to go away with that, and then got rid of RT and came back to where they are now at Windows 10. Which, have either of you tried Windows 10?
Yeah.
I have not.
Love it. Love Windows 10. Updated it on my home computer, and it looks and feels like a very tablet-based operating system, which is what Windows 8 was, but easily usable without a touchscreen. And that's what Windows 8 did not have compared to Windows 10. So
they really wanted everybody to hit their ground running with the touchscreen thing.
Right. They really wanted it to be the one universal operating system, whether you were doing a tablet or a PC or a desktop or laptop. But I think they realize that people who are using PCs and desktops want that desktop experience, and people using tablets want the tile tablet type experience. And so they've kind of gone away from that. But anyway, so I digress. So I looked at the new Surface, and I think my next big purchase for a computer or tablet will be just that Surface Pro. For me, I don't do a lot of, if I'm going to edit video or if I'm going to edit audio, I don't want to look at a 13-inch screen on the go. I'm going to want to sit down and sit in front of, an 18 or 24-inch monitor and do my work there. So for me, it didn't make sense to have basically two powerful computers that essentially do the same thing, but one allows me to not be in front of my office chair. And so for me, I am all for going the tablet route and that being a laptop replacement for me when it comes time to make that big purchase. And the Surface, does I think better than the iPad Pro does. They've been able to make those mistakes of earlier Surfaces, and they've been able to hone in on good hardware and quality type hardware specs that make the Surface Pro a really good laptop replacement. So for me, adios to my laptop.
You've never really been an Apple person, though, right? You've never been an Apple ecosystem person.
I got an iPhone 3G, loved it, and then I spent a year on the Apple train and thought it was too confining, so I said adios.
Use a Motorola, right? And so Motorola is dropping their texting through Chrome.
Yes.
So you're going to have to go back to texting on your phone.
No, they have other extensions that I could use, third-party things, so it'll be fine. It won't be as native as I would like it to be, but the alternatives are there, thanks to app developers out there who are saying, okay, well, the big companies aren't going to make it. People still want to use it, so I'll create it. And so I'm okay with that.
Hey, Greg, do you use iMessages on your laptop?
Yes, I do.
You enjoy it, right?
It works well for me, but again, it's one of those things where the closest people to me, except for Connolly, who's now extricating himself from that apparently, now are available to me to.
The devil are you talking about?
My family and whatnot. So it works nicely for me, yes.
You had a thought there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess from my viewpoint, I would prefer something that comes from the maker, right? So I don't think you can compare a third party, although they do the same thing. Why? Have you ever truly used the true ecosystem of using iMessages on your computer?
No.
Of having
It's all new. And I made the decision when I was moving off of Apple that I would then embrace the Google ecosystem with Google Docs and all that ecosystem. And so I've kind of vested myself into the Android Google platform. And I knew that's the route I was going to do because I couldn't see myself purchasing Apple products because the price range for the Apples were way above what I could afford. And so at that time, I decided to make the jump to Google, and for me, it served my use just fine.
But it doesn't look as pretty.
It doesn't look as pretty. I will agree that Android, Google, Microsoft doesn't look as pretty, but the functionality is there. I mean, I could text on my computer. I could sync my doc on my phone to then go online to edit a spreadsheet or a Word document or something like that. So the functionality of Android, Google PCs, they're all there. It's just not as smooth and beautiful with dissolves as Macs are.
How are those Android...
And I'm okay not paying for that design.
How are those Android updates working for you?
They're just fine. I believe I'm on Lollipop now. That's a different discussion, though. That's the iOS of iOS versus Android platform, and that's not the PC Apple discussion. Eventually, we get it. There's a bigger problem with Android, and it's not coming from Google. It's coming from the people making the Google phones and putting Android. It's what PCs did, right? They made the operating system, and they said, okay, here is the free source operating system. Now you go ahead and make the hardware and apply our programs to it. And Android is having a little trouble with that portion and making sure everyone's updated, but
I think, though, that
works.
I think it ties back perfectly to the Apple PC argument because you have an example of one company who has made the determination that they're going to control what's happening with their products because they want to ensure that their customers are getting a great experience. You have the flip side of Android or Microsoft who have decided, hey, we're going to send this out. We're going to leave it up to the manufacturers to try and get this right. But ultimately, we're not really going to control it. And so it comes back to the whole when you buy an Apple product, you have the assurance that you know that you have the company behind you, backing you, looking out for you, making sure that what you're getting is actually going to work.
Well, I won't say that Google Android isn't looking out for people. I mean, being able to provide an open source platform and allow users to update it with the way and update the code and help develop an iOS into a true community iOS and what people really want instead of a very closed Apple iOS type product,
Which
I think
works.
it's pretty cool. Well, the Android platform works. It doesn't crash. It's very stable. It does pretty much everything the iOS platform does, but it's been developed into what community people want, and the community says we want to be able to tweak our phones and our smartphones and our tablets into how we want to use it. We don't want a company to say you can only use it this way. You can only have your home screen a certain way, right? The Android platform allows you to kind of open that and really customize how you use your phone, and that customization doesn't really happen with Apple, but you know going into it that there's a give and take, right? If you can customize, it doesn't mean everything's going to work. Like the Apple iOS, you know it all works.
Mhm.
But with the Android platform, you don't know it works, but you're allowed to customize and add different widgets and apps to make it work with what you want to. So it's a little more work than Apple's plug and play. But I think you know that going into the Google Android PC Windows type platform is, okay, if it breaks, I can fix it. And in the Apple iOS, if it breaks, you can't fix it. You have to go to the Apple store and you have to go to the geniuses who are smart, and you have to wait in line and schedule a Genius Bar appointment or whatever you call it, right?
But well, that's true. But for a lot of people, I think if it does break, Windows or PC, they wouldn't fix it themselves, right? They
Well,
want
I
to know
think
that
I
there's a
think they
company
fix
behind
it.
them.
They go to Google and Google.com and they find out what's broken and how you can fix it. And in the PC world, if you really want to fix it, you can actually fix it, right? In the iOS world, there's certain things you can fix on your own, but most of the things are kind of locked up in locks and keys, and you have to have that key to unlock it. And so I think people like that flexibility of being able to fix the product when they want to and how they want to, and if not, then they'll go to the Windows Store or the Geek Squad and they'll send it off. But
I think some people like that, but a majority of people don't.
well, I don't quite agree with that, but
No, I think what you're looking at is some real good old-fashioned market competition, and at this point, it appears that after a few swings and misses, that at least maybe the tablet taking over for the larger laptop computer may be a real possibility for Windows, and they've been swinging at it. They didn't
Right.
take some very good swings, I don't think, early on, but that's sort of common, I feel, for Microsoft stuff.
Right.
But anyway, it looks to me like the competition is good and healthy, and that's exactly what we need for both of them to be better.
right, and a market will drive down prices, right? If there's more choices and the demand isn't there for just one product, well, maybe it'll make it a little more reasonable, because you can't survive without a tablet, smartphone, or laptop now, right? You can't be successful in this world if you're not connected to the internet all the time. And so the more products that work and work well, I think, is a consumer market and will help the consumers be able to have that choice of whatever platform you want to embrace. And hopefully each company with their new products will make it better and better, right? I mean, with the Surface, it struck out. But then they looked at the iPad and they saw what worked and what didn't work, and so they embraced it. And they said, okay, well, we're going to keep the keyboard. We're gonna update the OS operating system, and we're going to make it work so that people know when they open a tablet, they expect a certain experience. And so I think with each company's fails and successes, I think the other can gain something from it, even though they probably don't say that they do. But they can gain something and make a better product out of it. And I like that about the innovation of Microsoft and Apple.
I've-
Yeah. Matt and I will never see eye to eye in this.
I gotta say though, with Microsoft, they're gonna start getting in some murky waters with once they want to start controlling their products and they want to start making things themselves. They've never had that business model before.
They'll never go. I don't think they'll ever go to that model. They know the world they're in and what people expect out of a PC and a Microsoft-based system, and I don't think they want to control the hardware and the OS. I think they'll have hardware. They'll be stricter on hardware and what their OS goes on, but I think they'll keep their market. I mean, it's what they're giving out Windows 10, right? Into whatever hardware you want to install it onto. As long as you have a Windows 7, Windows XP license, you can put it on wherever you want. So I think I don't think they're ever going to go. Well, I won't say ever, but I think in the short term they won't go into that hardware world like Apple is.
They are heading into that hardware world though. What is the Surface?
Well, but they still make the OS and operating system for desktops, and they're not going to make their own computers.
Why?
Well, they're so far behind in that world. Why would you invest all that money into a world that you've never been in? With the Surface, they've always been in the I'm going to create my own tablet and I'm going to make sure that the hardware is controlled. I don't think they'll go that way with PCs.
I don't see why you wouldn't go that way with PCs. Because someone at Microsoft is looking at Apple saying, hey, this is working. What they're doing is working. So what do we need to do? And then what do? They start opening Microsoft stores for support, for sales.
Mm-hmm.
They look at Apple and they say, hey, Apple is controlling their components. What do we need to do? Well, we make a Surface. So obviously one's looking at the other saying, hey, you guys are doing better than us. So
In certain aspects. I don't think Microsoft wants to take the risk of making their own hardware, and I think they did that with the Surface 1 and found out it's hard, and it was a flop, and they don't want to make that mistake with the PC world, and so I don't see them going down that road for that reason. If they've done it, and they've never made hardware for PCs, and they've always relied on distributors like Dell's and Lenovo's, who make perfectly good hardware now to install the OS on, and a consistent hardware to operate the Windows platform. And so I think they'll continue down that road, but I think they'll become a lot stricter on who makes the hardware and what they allow their OS to be installed on. I don't see them going down the other way.
would you say they will become more Apple-like? When you say they will
Well,
become
don't you
more
think
strict?
Apple has become more PC-liked with the keyboard on a tablet? I mean, there's a give and take for each company. They're continuing to use what works for other companies and deciding to keep what works for them and continuing down that road. And so in one way, Microsoft is becoming a lot like Apple, and in some ways, Apples are becoming a lot like Microsoft. So,
Maybe for the first time.
right. Money, money, money. So, there you go.
Well, that's a conversation we certainly, in one way or the other, will continue to have for sure as the market plays out on the success or, I suppose, failure of any of the things coming out
Right.
from either one of the companies. But
I mean,
but
the tech world,
there's no
there's
question
always,
that Microsoft has a little bit more on the line right now when they're putting out their Surface stuff and hoping that it catches hold. But
right, and they plaster it all over every television show. Everyone's
Yeah,
got a Surface now.
absolutely. Well, if you two gentlemen are ready, I believe it's time to do the unthinkable and dig into what is on Matt's mind and see what he's got on tap.
What's
this
on
week.
Matt's mind?
Matt, tell us what's on your mind.
So
my
everyone
friend.
here knows about the recent events in Paris and the aftermath of those. And has everyone seen Facebook's safety check? It's been for natural. They've activated it for natural disasters previous to this, but this was the first human disaster that they've activated it for. Have you guys seen about that?
Yeah, it's allowing
Yes, I have.
members to check in on Facebook, allowing their friends and families to know if they're safe or not, right?
It is exactly that.
Right.
They got some pushback. Not much, I'd say, but it was enough to get some media coverage that a few people were asking the question of why did you pick France to be the first time that you activated this when the attacks in Beirut a few days before or a day before where 40 people died and Facebook opted to not activate it then. Facebook gave a very logical and I would say very, very fair response of, there has to be a first time for everything, and we made the decision that France was the first time we would activate this. However, we've made it a policy now that going forward, human disasters would qualify for the activation of the safety check.
Mm-hmm.
That's A. B. I think this is an awesome example of how social media is becoming a huge tool and is involving to things that never could have been seen before.
Yeah, I think this is the bright side of social media, right? We always talk about the dark side of social media and college students communicating with selfies that make no sense to me or to anyone on this panel, right?
Yik yak.
And yik yak, right? Stories that are made up, and some of them carry over to the news world, and you're like, really? That was a yik yak story. And so there's a lot of dark side to social media, but I think this is why and what makes social media great is you can connect with your family and friends in a way that we've never been able to connect with, and whenever these natural disasters or human disasters happen, to be able to make sure your family is safe thousands of miles away, I think is priceless. And I applaud Facebook for launching this service and creating this policy that if there's anything going forward that happens with a human event like this, that anyone can go on and use this service. So Facebook, good on you, my friends.
I think it's great too to see how, or it's interesting to see how Facebook has become, obviously they're big, and now they're in a position where they can roll things like this out, and they actually are usable. You know, this isn't the first time that a website or a company has tried to create a system where you could check in digitally and say, I'm fine. You know, the Red Cross does it. A lot of small companies start them up. But those require people to actively go out to the website and actively involved with the website.
Right.
Versus Facebook, it just gives you a pop-up, hey, are you okay? And everyone already has the app, everyone already gets the alerts, and everyone can just quickly say, yeah, I'm fine. And it's a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean they've built the audience of Facebook, and so it makes it a useful tool. I mean, you know, like you said, the Red Cross and all those people do it, but how many people go to redcross.org or whatever their URL? I don't even know what their URL is, right? I know Facebook.com, and so I think being able to create this big social network that they did, and then being able to create these types of tools are fantastic.
And a big step. It also takes them a step into that place where they now will probably receive a different type of any sort of backlash, as you were
Right.
talking about in this, but just criticism in general. If you're going to become, and they really didn't have any choice. They'd already become a place where people could communicate and expected to be able to communicate, and they probably really needed to do something like this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they get backlash about everything they release, right? When they allowed people to change their profile pictures when the same-sex marriage passed nationally, right? Being able to add that color rainbow to your profile picture. Well, some people love it, some people don't, but they took a stand as a company, and good on them. Good on them. That's what's on your mind, Matt?
That was what's on my mind.
Oh, you're so kind.
On Matt's mind.
Always fun to go inside Matt's mind. Sometimes
question.
you don't want to be in it. But from Matt's mind to what's trending.
What's trending?
So usually we have our what's trending segment kind of a little later in the show, but since Matt decided to go there, we'll go there with our what's trending topic. And so it kind of continues around the discussion and events of what happened Friday in Paris, and I'm sure most of us have already seen clips and things like that, so I won't dive into it. But this guy right here, if Matt will share my screen, which I think he did,
I am.
decided to kind of help people heal in a nice little way. And so he took his piano and tied it to his bike and biked his piano up to, I'm not really good with meters to miles, feet type thing, but 10 meters to where the scene of the terrorist attacks happened in Paris. Took this piano and played this nice little song, and we'll have you listen to it. As of the taping of this, it posted on Saturday. It's got 1.6 million views. So take a listen. Maybe. And so there, that tune becomes very familiar. That's the John Lennon, beautiful song of what's it called?
Imagine.
Imagine, right?
Man
And
plays
so-
Imagine by John Lennon.
Oh, it's in the title. And so, just a nice little gathering. He just took his piano, decided to start playing this song, and a small crowd started to gather, and it's becoming a nice social media thing that's happening as we all try to make peace in the world. And so we'll make sure to post this link on our website, bandwidthboys.com. But if you have a second and you want some goosebumps, it's a pretty good video to check out. And he's actually a pretty good piano player. Just saying. So that's our what's trending clip of the week. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I think it was a very appropriate.
Yeah. So it's always fun to see and interesting to see what comes out of these these major events and how people kind of come together as a nation and just humanity in general to try and boost people's feelings and things like that. And so I think those are stories that should be told. And so we did.
I think it's
say.
awesome to see with social media and YouTube how something like that, the reach of its impact can be so much greater than just the people who were there. Right, a few years ago that would have not been possible. It would have been, you couldn't just videotape it on your phone and have it up within minutes, but now it can reach around the world.
And it does reach around the world, and it reaches all kinds of people. Whereas, like you say, just a few years ago, a handful of years ago, it just reaches such a small audience if it reaches many at all. It's really different now.
All right, we're going to shift gears now.
Yeah, we are. We're going to crowdfunding. I would expect that is the general place we go at this time.
And we finally named our segment, Greg. What do we name it?
Yeah, I know. Baby's Got Back or Not.
Baby got back.
I love that. Love it. All right, what are we looking at today? That's me.
That's you. You're the
me.
guy. We
That's
take a
this
look
guy.
at things like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, all of those. And what project are we looking at today, Connell?
So last week we went to the world of Indiegogo, right? And we talked about drones, and we all thought it was a really cool project. Only one of us decided to fund it, though, and the other two decided not to. But we all agreed it was a cool thing to start, and we hoped more things like that would come out. So this week I decided to go to another crowdfunding source, and this one is called Kickstarter. And the one that I found, it is already funded, so they already met their goal. And so their goal was $50,000, and currently, as we're recording, they're at about $96,000 with 54 days to go. So they got a lot of days to go. But the project is called Cast, the world's first interactive social TV. So it's a very interesting topic. Take a listen.
Hello, Kickstarter. I'm very excited to present to you Cast by Genie. Cast by Genie is a cutting-edge home entertainment hub that seamlessly connects all of your devices into a wireless home video system. And even more amazingly, you can live stream the content that you're watching out of your own home to your friends and family. So you can all watch together no matter where they are. I can guarantee that with Cast by Genie, entertainment will never be the same.
Okay, first, I don't know how to pronounce the second part. Genie. But I can do the first one, Cast. So this Cast project, I think, sounds really awesome. So it allows people to buy this hub, right? And then you then have to buy these supporting sticks that you send to your family and friends, and via iOS or Android, because we're all inclusive, it allows you to watch your favorite sporting events or anything like that while interacting with your friends and family. So the way it works is you cast, so kind of like a Chromecast. You guys use your Chromecasting or Roku casting or things like that, right? So first you cast the content you want. So whether it's through a Netflix app or a sporting app or something like that. I don't think you can do live TV if it's not from an app. So I think it has to be with an app with casting capabilities. I could be wrong on that. But you cast your content to your TV. You then invite your friends and family via the app, and they get a notification, and then you can chat about it through the app. But what's also cool is if you're watching, you can purchase a camera, and so if you're watching on the live stream, there's a little picture, and so you can see the game and the content happening, and then you can watch it and your friend's reaction alongside that video content. What do you guys think?
Greg?
What I'm sort of curious about, or mostly curious about, is what the hub actually allows you to do that other sticks or app handling units, desktop units,
Right.
or set-top units do. What's it actually doing that's different than any of those, if there is any difference?
Right.
between the two?
I think there's a big difference in this cast here allows you to cast content to the network itself, and then allows the other people in your network and friends to see exactly what you're seeing. So let's say you are watching American Idol or something. And like for me on the West Coast, my parents live in Hawaii, so they're on a 2-hour, 3-hour delay. And so by using this app and this cast program, we can then watch it at the same time without that delay and chat about the show in real time.
Yeah, so it's like 20 years ago having a satellite dish that actually picked up the real feed from the satellite or something.
Exactly.
I mean,
That's why I'm
in a
not
sense.
sure. But I'm not sure about live TV. I think from what I read, it's about
I think it's all app based.
right, and not about live TV. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you have like the Time Warner Cable app or Comcast and that supports Chromecast, which I'm not sure those do, then you can actually watch those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know NBA Live, the NBA TV app. If you have that subscription, that'll do it. And then I know the MLB thing does it as well. So, yeah.
Interesting. Matt?
I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see. I don't know if I personally would use it a ton, but I can definitely see, even situations where if your friends are spread out and everyone wants to watch a movie, you can pull up a movie on Netflix and cast it out, and then you don't have to worry about. I don't know if you guys have ever done it, but I've definitely tried the old get everyone to hit play at the same time, so you're actually kind of watching the movie together, and that just never works, right? And so this way, it would be nice to have one person pick a movie, cast it out, and everyone is at the same place. Share YouTube videos. You can show everyone the same video, and just being able to feel more inclusive to people who aren't there.
And I think what this cast does is kind of what TV, cable, Roku set-top boxes are trying to do, as well as to make it one gigantic integrated system between social media and your live content, and then you being able to watch it along with your family and friends, and it just being on one giant screen and being able to share that with your family and friends, I think is pretty cool. Although
have they worked out any issues with licensing and whatnot?
Oh, hey,
if you're
here's
sending something through an app that is running on somebody else's sign-in?
There is a nice little section on the Kickstarter. I will read it word for word because I knew that someone would bring it up. And it says,
I figured it had to be there.
It says, is this legal? Right. That's the
Right,
heading.
that's a good question.
Is this legal? It says, right now, you're probably asking yourself, is that legal? Well, let's imagine that I invite you to my place tomorrow to watch a show together on Netflix. It's legal, right? Well, we just do it digitally. So acknowledgement that Cast offers a family and friends use only, it's legal. So a Cast session lets only up to 6 people participate in the session, knowing that one person subscribes or owns the content, and you're just sharing it, so you're inviting people to be a part of that content. And so as far as this project is going, and as the law sees it now, it's legal. It's like inviting a friend over to watch TV with you.
So it sounds like maybe we just haven't run into some of the problems, because currently you can all but not rent a movie and download it to your iPad or to your PC, because the folks who understand how to strip everything and steal it. And so I guess I'm just sort of wondering how that fits in.
I hate those people. Hate them. Hate them. So we get to the question, right? Do you guys all understand the product, how it works?
What's the pricing?
Okay, I'm going to get to that.
Well,
I just got to make sure you understand the product.
I thought you were going to ask the question of
No, I was not going to.
Okay, well.
If you pay attention to last show, we do the same thing, right? So, you guys understand how the project works?
Yep.
Okay.
I do.
So, they have a cast box, and that comes with the Wi-Fi camera. So, if you wanted to have your face on screen with your other peeps, you would have to buy the cast box. Then they have the cast hub, which is the cast box, a camera, and an HDMI stick. Okay? And then they have the Duo Hub, which is a 2 cast boxes, 2 cams, and 2 HDMI sticks. So, let's do the hub. Let's do the twofer, because you need 2 in order for this to work.
Be
right?
worth it, I think.
So,
Right.
2 cast boxes, 2 cameras, and 2 cast HDMI sticks. And so I think you just kind of put it up on your network. So the way I think it works, and I'm not sure because it's kind of confusing, is you have the cast unit itself, which is a dome-shaped thing that talks to the stick, which is what gets put into your TV. So I think the brain and the what is dealing with the casting itself and all the social media integration is happening in that cast dome. And then that then talks to the HDMI stick, which puts it onto your TV, and then you have the two cast cameras that talk to the cast dome to then put it onto the HDMI stick. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Greg,
it
makes
does.
sense? Okay. So, 2 cast boxes, 2 cast cams, and 2 cast HDMI sticks. Okay? So, Kickstarter regular price is $539. The early bird special, which is only 500 available, and that's gone, is $449. And then they have the super early bird, which is only 500, which I don't know why that one didn't
Yeah,
go
why
first,
would
but
you get rid of the?
I have no idea. And so that's $389. So currently, I think, well, let's go back up here to see what's available, where it says back project. So they have, all right, so let's skip those. So they have the cast hub. Which one was it? Oh, looks like they're gone with the, oh no, here it is, $389. So they have 16 more of the 2 cast boxes, 2 cast cams, and 2 cast HDMI sticks for $389. So that's the price that you would back this project at to get the duo, right? Because we all agree you need more than one to make this worth something.
Right.
Okay. So that's the one we'll talk about. So for $389, you get 2 cast boxes, 2 cast cams, and 2 cast HDMI sticks. And they say future retail price of this will be $699. So you save $310. So once it comes off a Kickstarter, they're going to offer it at $699 for 2. So the question is that Matt supported drones last week. The question is at $389, would you fund it, or would you back it, or would you not? So we'll start with the guy who backed the drones last week. And I think I know his answer because I worked with him enough. Matt, you're going to back it or not?
No.
All right, we got no back. We got no back. One no back. Greg, well, I'll go to me because I know what my answer is. I would back it. Just for the fact that my kids love Disney Junior. They love Netflix. They love watching Curious George and things like that. And watching them interact with the show and seeing that, I think, is priceless. And being able to allow... Because every time I Skype with my parents, I always say, hey, Liam, do that thing that you did when you watched Curious George. And he won't do it, right? They get like camera shy all of a sudden. Well, if my parents can see the same thing they're watching and can see their reactions to what they're watching in the way that I see them every day, I think that's pretty cool. So for that reason, I would back it. So Greg, we're off to you. Again, tiebreaker here. Would you back it
Baby got fat.
or not? $389.
$389.
2 cast boxes, 2 HDMI sticks, and it does baseball.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to
That's a-
influence you in any way. I'm just saying.
No, I think I like the idea. It doesn't hold a lot of interest for me personally, just right now. Like you had a great personal example as to why it worked for you, but that personal example doesn't work for me, and so for me personally, it just wouldn't. So I don't think I would. But I do believe it's a good idea, and obviously it's been back, and there are more people like you.
All right. So by a vote of 2-1, this project did not get backed.
Can I
Too
say
bad.
why?
Can you say, yeah, go ahead.
My problem with it is it's too proprietary. In that if the service for some reason gets discontinued, I have a box, I have a stick that does nothing. That is literally completely useless.
Well, it's the same thing as the drone thing you backed last week. The drone company
But
goes
I-
out,
but I can
the
still-
rotors are dead.
But I still have a drone, right? If
That
this-
doesn't fly. What? Oh, sorry. I don't know what that was. I just hit the button. Whoa.
versus if they turn this into a software thing, and I could run this off of a home theater computer that's plugged into my
No
TV.
one does that. No one does that but you.
Okay, well then never mind.
Greg, do you know what he's talking about? I don't do that. If the Chromecast dies, I'm not going to run it off something.
But if it became a software-based thing, and I could run it off of something I already had, I could justify paying for the software because if the software stops working or gets discontinued, I still have a computer. If this thing goes under, I
You got a
have
nice
nothing.
little paperweight is what
Exactly.
you
I have a $400 paperweight.
Yeah.
got. All right. That's fine. I got no issues. Everyone's got their own little opinion. That's fine.
All right.
Don't
Well,
use
this
little.
week it didn't get back. I'm really feeling like a bit of a stick in the mud.
We're
I'm
0 for
hoping
we're
to
0 for
find
2 on trying to find a project that will back. But
whoever it is you pick next week, I probably will back it just on guilt alone.
the Catholic guilt, what we call it.
I'm not against backing things. It's just that. Anyway, all right. Well, we're off to the next thing. It's kind of a quick one this week, and our rants and raves could be deep and well thought out, but we've just got a very simple one this time around, right?
Right. You have your own rant and rave?
No, I mean I'm
Okay.
just following.
You're
your
gonna
lead,
live
and,
off of my rant and rave? I'll do
I
it.
am gonna coattail your rant and rave.
That's cool. That's cool. So we all work at Washington State University, right? We're very proud Cougs. Well, I'm not going to tell you what happened. I want you to listen to what happened.
Third and 10, Falk takes the snap. Rolls out to the right, throws it to the end zone. It is a flag flown, but a touchdown caught. It's a touchdown call. Gabe Marks makes the grab. A touchdown for Washington State. Washington State beats UCLA in the Rose Bowl, 31-27. Luke Falk does it again.
Do you know how hard it is to have all the kids sleeping in the house, the wife sleeping, that call to be made at 11 o'clock at night and not being able to yell? It's very hard. But last
You're
night...
you're the guy in a current NFL commercial who has to go out to the car and,
That's
and
me,
scream.
right.
because- yeah,
If it
that's
wasn't
you.
so
And
cold outside, I would have done it, though. That call courtesy, and we'll probably get, flagged for something, but
No, it's fine.
I wanted to play it. That call courtesy of Washington State University IMG networks of last night's victory. Oh, we'll kill that one. Of victory over UCLA, 18th ranked UCLA, right? Well, then 18th ranked UCLA at home. So that was that call. So that is my huge rave of the week. Go
That
Cougs!
is
And now,
magnificent. Go Cougs.
and now entering this week, ranked 23rd in the coaches poll. Very exciting time to be a Cougar. Love it.
All
I was
for
gonna
it.
I was gonna come in with a rant, but then that happened last night, and I said, "Oh, I can't not talk about it."
Yeah, and there will be plenty of weeks for rants.
Right.
All of
So,
that.
so
All right, are
Randy
you ready
Newman,
for the tech question?
Randy Newman's on loop. No, Matt's got his own. Matt's got his own rant. No.
Oh, he does?
I came unprepared.
Oh, Matt came unprepared. So it's just me. That's okay. We can all live off of my rave. That's fine.
I was planning to coattail all along. Yeah.
Great. All right, final segment. Here we go.
Tech support. Question of privilege.
I didn't tell him that stinger existed, but there you go. All right, go ahead, Greg.
That's nice. All right, this week's tech question comes from Connolly.
That's me.
Yeah. It's a computer question. Shocking. Connolly says, I upgraded the Windows 10 this week. To Windows 10, I'm sure is what it really meant to say. And finally, love the way it moves and works. Well, I launched my Adobe products. and
Until
not
I
so
launch
much.
my Adobe.
I can't
product.
hear anything. But when I'm online or with iTunes, I can hear something. My question is, what the heck can I do to make my Adobe suite work properly with my new Windows 10 upgrade?
Matt.
For some odd reason, Windows 10 will change the sampling bitrate of your audio card. You just have to go into your audio card settings and change the bitrate to one that matches your Adobe.
Boom.
That was easy.
Look at that. Can't stump us.
Easy.
Stump us.
What's the bit rate standard that they changed it from and to?
Don't know what they changed it to. Either 24-bit, 4400 or
Why would they do that?
2400.
Don't even answer that. Don't even answer.
Don't know.
There's a lot of 32-bit float out there as well. That it is a default, but So they went to 24, huh?
You need to go back to 24.
You need to go back to 24 from whatever
Ugh.
you have it set at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if it was a glitch that causes that, or if Microsoft made a conscious decision to do that. But yeah, I don't think Adobe likes, the programs don't like whatever sampling rate Windows 10 decides it wants.
All right. I will try that
Yeah.
right after this podcast.
If
Yeah,
it doesn't
you
work,
might
don't
as
call
well.
me.
I think Adobe is 32 as their default in general, if I'm remembering right.
If it doesn't work, I'll ask it again next week.
Yep, that's right. You can. Well, if you've got a tech question and you want us to help, we'd be glad to do it. All you have to do is email your question to questions@bandwidthboys.com. And if you want to join us live next Sunday on the podcast, leave us your Skype name and we'll have you on the show. Just try to stump us.
Tech support. Question of privilege.
I just wanted to play it one more time.
Very nice. All right, it looks like we're going to slam the book shut on another episode of Bandwidth Boys podcast, and thanks for joining us. If you missed the live one, don't worry. You can download and listen to our podcast by using iTunes or your favorite podcast.
We're on iTunes now. We're on it.
We are on iTunes.
They said,
All right.
hey, you guys make some cool stuff. You can be in part of our library. Right?
Yeah. I think, or just, hey, you guys make some stuff
Whatever.
here.
Here.
Something.
I'll take it, though.
Yeah.
We didn't offend them.
Nope.
And, of course, Matt, I don't know if you've seen it, but Matt spent some time, probably on his date night or something, tweaking our website. So a whole new look to bandwidthboys.com. So thank you, Matt, for doing that. Nice work.
Much appreciated.
And now I have to push this button.
Yeah.
Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Facebook, Bandwidth Boys Podcast. Twitter, @GMK Podcast. Web, bandwidthboys.com. Bandwidth Boys Podcast.
And that's it. I'm Greg.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Connolly.
We'll talk to you next time. Same place, same time, same crazy shenanigans. It's right here on the Bandwidth Boys podcast. Keep teching on.